I'm David Ammano. You're listening to The Fifth Floor. In the coming hour, from Cyprus to St. Lucia, why Vietnam's elite are willing to pay huge sums of money for dual citizenship, and how to be a professional queen. Is there a secret to the success of Queen Sofia of Spain? But first, it's been 3 years since violence in Myanmar's Rakhine state forced hundreds of thousands of Rohingya people to flee into neighbouring Bangladesh. The homes they left behind were destroyed and relatives killed in what the international community condemned as ethnic cleansing. Most of the refugees settled in Cox's Bazar, now hosting the world's largest camp. Shanawaj Rocky was there 3 years ago. He's a journalist with our Bengali language service, BBC Bangla, and he also speaks Rohingya, the language of the displaced people. Rocky was back in the camp last month and made some new friends, like 3-year-old Nayeem.
Nayeem is a 3-year-old boy. He was born inside the camp in 26th of August 2017 when the violence started in the Myanmar, and his parents actually fled from Myanmar to Bangladesh on that night when the massacre started. So he was born inside the camp. That was a rainy day. His father told me he had to put a tarpaulin over bushes around him to protect the baby, newborn baby, but there was no food, no shelter, nothing, no house. In this harsh condition, Naeem was born.
So what's it like then, interviewing a 3-year-old? How do you interview a 3-year-old child in a refugee camp?
You know what? He's a very small child and he don't know much about the outsiders who live outside the camp. So when a man comes with a camera and other crews, he was a little bit afraid and he was shy to talk to the camera. So I had to spend nearly 2.5 hours with him. I buy some chocolate for him and I played with him football, and later he just sit behind his mother and then started talking.
He doesn't seem that shy in your video piece, and he's very, very articulate and able to express himself.
Yeah, because he was very interested and he was very excited to speak with someone who is not from the camp, but he can speak his own language, because most of the people, especially from television or other, many foreign people go there, interview them, they speak English or they speak Bengali, which most of the children, they don't understand the Bengali or English. And I do speak Rohingya language as well, because I'm from Chittagong, which is not far from Myanmar actually. So it's very exciting for them when they see someone outside from camp and speaking the similar language they also speak. And of course, I played with him, so you know how it's cooperate with a boy when you play with him. He felt, okay, it's a big child.
There's a football that comes into view. He loves playing football, and this football has got Lionel Messi's name on it.
Someone donated the ball to the kids inside the camp. He doesn't know much about Messi. He doesn't know what does goal mean, what does penalty, free kick. He doesn't know anything about football. He just know this is a ball and it's need to kick. That's it.
What about ambition? Did he express any ambitions? He's only 3, but he seems to have some.
You know what? They haven't seen much outside the camp. So especially the teacher, they are the hero, and the doctors, they are the hero for the child inside the camp. So they wanted to be a doctor or they wanted to be a teacher. And interestingly, some child, they wanted to be a shopkeeper, because inside the camp there are lots of small shops. The shopkeeper have got lots of chocolate. So they think if they become a shopkeeper, they can have lots of chocolate their own. So that's why they wanted to be a shopkeeper actually.
You also spoke with Yasmin, who was 16 in 2017 when she crossed the border with her younger sister. What's the story there?
I met her before when she arrived in the camp. Her entire family was killed in the Rakhine state, and she and her younger sister managed to escape the violence. And later, when they came to Cox's Bazar in Bangladesh, another Rohingya family adopted them. So I knew their stories. Normally, most of the Rohingya people, they do not get chance to school. But interestingly, Yasmin studied till class 10 in Rakhine. So it means she was from a very decent family who have got much money and power back home. But still, she had to leave her country, and she is much educated person. So that's why that was an exceptional case for me because I have never seen such educated girl in Rohingya camp before. So I was interested to see after 3 years what change has happened in her life.
And what changes did you find in her life?
The main changes is she got a baby, actually, baby boy. So that's the major changes. Her life is a little bit settled inside the camp. She got married, and the family who adopt her, their elder children get married with Yasmin actually. Whenever a girl get married, she need to give a lots of money to the groom's family.
Dowry.
A dowry, yeah, which is very higher for the Rohingya people. She got married without any dowry, but she is now worried about her younger sister because her sister cannot get married without dowry because they need to give 2,000 to 3,000 pounds to the grooms, and if they cannot manage it, and it will be difficult to get married.
And what about her ambitions, Yasmin's?
She doesn't have much ambition actually. She shared me my life was ruined when I was left the Myanmar. So now my ambition is to raise my kids and get married my younger sister. So that's her ambition, and that's it.
So for girls like Yasmin, or even boys as young as Naeem, would they see their lives now in Bangladesh, or do they still look to Myanmar?
What they're saying actually, if they don't have the citizen right in Myanmar, they will not have any future. And they are refugee here in Bangladesh, so they do not have any future here either. So what their demand is, they want to go back to their country with all citizen right, access to education, and they want all rights as other Myanmar citizen in their country. So that's what their dream. But it seems they are a little bit disappointed as well because it's 3 years gone and still the hope is very little that they would go back to their country actually.
Rocky, if you don't mind, just take us behind the camera, behind the scenes just for a moment, because you were filming obviously during COVID-19 restrictions. I noticed that Naeem's mother was wearing a mask, but his father wasn't. What's the situation in the camp?
The different organizations give them some personal protection equipment like mask, hand sanitizer and everything. But it seems the Rohingya people, they do not bother about the COVID-19. I speak to few peoples and they think the disease is God's will. So if he give us, he will cure it. And I speak to some health worker. They try to educate the people about COVID-19, how to keep them safe and sanitize their house and everything. But it is really impossible to maintain the social distance inside the camp because they lived in 10 feet by 10 feet house where 6 to 7 people lived together. It was feared that there will be a major outbreak inside the camp. But later it's found there are limited infection than it was feared, and only 6 died inside the camp. More than 60% of the people inside the Rohingya camp, they are actually under 18. They are quite young. So this could be one of the reason. And another thing is the contact tracing is heavily maintained. Whenever they are suspecting anyone, they just bring them to the isolation center and tracing whoever contacted with them. But still, the people inside the camp, they don't bother it.
So what about you though, Rocky, behind the camera? I mean, was it strange talking to people not taking precautions when presumably you were fully kitted out in some kind of biosuits and PPE?
When I entered inside the camp with fully protected gear and everything, I thought I am the alien inside the camp actually. And people are looking at me like I was walking on the moon. So they just laughed at me actually.
I bet they did. So you're kind of like the man from Mars who strangely speaks their language, Rohingya.
Probably. That's why maybe the boy, Naeem, talked to me actually. The man from the Mars is speaking to me.
But seriously, were you not afraid of contracting the virus on this assignment?
When I was filming inside the camp and wearing all the protective gear, they were taking my picture actually. Who is the guy? Why he is wearing this kind of stuff inside the camp? And I was really feeling shy, but there was nothing to do because they are taking my picture, and if they put it on the social media or somewhere else, And if my boss noticed it, maybe he will be very angry. So actually, I was feared my boss rather than the COVID-19 actually.
BBC Bangla's Shanewaj Rocky taking us behind the scenes at the Cox's Bazar refugee camp in Bangladesh. This is The Fifth Floor, the place and the programme from the BBC where you get to know our reporters and their stories a little better.